All right. Good morning, everyone. I'm glad to have us all here. I wish like more people actually join because this is the last session, and to think we've come so far since Sunday actually, and we've had this amazing turnout every single day. You guys have been here supporting us for the progress that we've had for the National Arts in Health Week Nigeria. So I want to say a very big thank you to all of us for joining and to, of course, Dr. Kule Adewale for giving us the opportunity to actually experience this wonderful week of eventful. Honestly, if you missed any of the programs, make sure you go back to watch it because I could tell you that there's a lot to learn, there's a lot to unlearn, and there's a lot to relearn. So make sure to stick with us. For today, we have two things on the schedule, but for now, we're going to be starting with the arts exhibition on thalassemia. And like he said, the team that put this together, honestly, they've been doing such a wonderful job from the beginning. Every single thing that they've done so far has been so appealing to the audience. We've had so much turnout and we've been able to learn all these inspiring things that we get to see. So let's glue our eyes to the screen as we start the arts exhibition on thalassemia. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that brilliant welcoming address today. Ifedoyin, thank you so much. And also want to welcome everybody to day 7 of the National Art and Health Week in Nigeria, day 7, May 14th. Incredible. I'm going to ask Ashley Stewart to just really talk. She's one of the team lead for the curatorial team that worked on this, to tell us about what this is about. And also I will ask Timothy as well to speak. So I'm going to unmute you now, Ashley, to just give us a very quick talk.
Good morning, everyone. And we're all happy to be here. It's an honor and a privilege to be part of the curatorial team that handled this wonderful theme of 3D exhibition, thalassemia. I got to work on this project with amazing people and got to understand more about the subject, which is prevalent in our society. Okay, sorry about that. Thalassemia, I got to know, is a blood disorder involving lower than normal oxygen levels and the oxygen carrying protein in the blood. It is something that affects a vast majority of our population here in Nigeria. But the most important part of it is that we were able, a number of persons were able to illustrate, paint, draw, and to transfer these things on canvases and various surfaces to be able to articulate this particular subject, which I find very fascinating. So we had about 41 persons or more, but we had to curate it to a certain number to accommodate what we have here. So I'm hoping that this will shed the light on the subject thalassemia, and in the long run, show that artists can do much more than just 1 or 2 subjects. We can delve deep into several issues in society and address them in our own visual way. So it's your show to enjoy. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for that brilliant speech. We are having more understanding of what the role of the artist is. The artist is not just a painter. Because sometimes when people hear artist is like somebody who draws portraits. That's people are idea of an artist is. An artist just a draw now. It resembles that man die. It's an artist. But an artist, being an artist, go beyond that. I'm going to invite another incredible team lead, Timothy in the DIA, to join Ashley, in talking about how they've been able to work on these, what the experience was, what were the criteria you used in selecting the people that actually were shortlisted. So over to you, Timothy in the DIA, please.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Kunle. It was such a privilege to work on the team in curating these works. We had over 101 submissions, and it was really exciting to see how much thought process people had put in. So we had to select about 40 artworks based on the creativity, originality, and how relevant their entries were to the subject area. We also looked at the quality, the process, how what medium was used and how difficult was it to create. And we also looked at originality. We wanted to be sure that people were not copying other people's artworks, and wanted to be sure that we are giving you the best of what was submitted. So after a process, we were able to arrive at the 41 artworks, which you will see. Very deep artworks. They even touched some areas which we never thought were a part of, the whole subject of thalassemias, the need to love. Some of them were more of technical, telling people how, the subject area works and how, oxygen carrying deficiency could affect the health of the person in the family, as a society as a whole. So as you'd find, the artworks are really deep, and let's try to open our minds to a whole new experience of learning. And this is where art meets health in one way, and we're hoping that it's going to inform, for those of us who are creators, it's going to inform how we create, and for those of us in the health space, it's going to inform us on how more we can, embrace and open our minds to more interactions like this. So thank you very much to the team. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you for Jago. And I can't call all of us, but it was so amazing working with you guys.
So thank you so much, Timothy, for that wonderful speech. And I think it's very important. I mean, what you said, the criteria is being read out on why we choose the various artworks that are going to be in the exhibits today. And most importantly, the message, the health messaging, what is important. I mean, thalassemia, I think I got to know about it like way back about 7 years ago. The awareness on it is it's extremely low. Not many people know about thalassemia as they know about sickle cell disorder, right? So it's not good that, this is an opportunity to be able to bring to light things that people are unaware of, and art actually is being used as that communication tool as well. We're going to go straight up into the exhibition right away because we don't have time, and they just get ready. And probably we'll ask one or two artists to say a few things. Some of them are here now with us for maybe 2 or 3 before, but then let's get into the art exhibition very quickly, all right? Happy viewing. All right, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful expressions from everybody. I'm going to hand over to the host now to probably ask some of the artists who are here to talk about what their experience was when they were creating some of the works they made regarding creating awareness for thalassemia. Ife, are you still here?
Yes, Mr. Cole, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, please. Over to you.
Okay. Wow. All right. So I can understand that if you did not know about thalassemia before, you might be wondering, what are these paintings, these drawings about? Why are they trying to paint different scenarios to us? And it might have been confusing. So we do have some of the artists on the call today, and they will give us heads up on what we should know and what we should try to see from their perspective on the art that was created and displayed to us. So I'll call on who would like to go first? Who should go first? If you're an artist, if your work was displayed on the screen, please indicate by raising your hand so I could call on you, please.
Would Martha want to speak? Martha is here, and I know a few others are there. Okay, Martha, very quickly.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to ask you to unmute
Martha,
yourself,
please go
Martha.
ahead. Oh, you look so beautiful. Hi, Martha.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear me?
Yes, clearly.
Okay. It wasn't an easy one though, and I've never heard of the word thalassemia before. I never knew it existed. It wasn't easy coming up with a painting. I had to read and research and trying to do a work that anyone can really understand. And it wasn't really easy though, but it was fun. It was educative. It's not like sickle cell. From my own research, it's not like sickle cell. It's something that it has a cure. Or would I say better treatment? That's bone marrow transplant. Yeah, I think that's what it said. Yes. And then blood transfusion, which the person have to be doing, taking blood every two months, I think. But the disadvantage of that is iron overload in the person's body. But I think thalassemia coming to Africa, I think it's going to be seen as a taboo, because I don't think it's an African thing, but it exists in Africa, and from what I've learned so far, it's a disease where nobody planned to have it. It is genetic. It has a cure, which is kind of expensive, but it is a disease that can be managed if people are aware of it, if people are well informed. It's a disease that can be managed, and I think whoever has it needs more love and support. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Martha. Thank you so much. I'm actually trying to find out which one is your piece from what has been displayed. So I wish Dr. Kunde could show us so we would understand better where you drew inspiration from.
So, Martha, can you
the
show
one with the hand?
The one with the hand, right?
The one with, yeah, a child's hand.
I need to look at the screen now. We want to share. Describe it again, please.
It's orange. It's more orange. It's catchy. 2 adult hand and a child's hand with blood. Some blood bank.
Oh, like, okay. I think I noticed that one.
Which one?
Yeah.
It was the one you first displayed. The one you first displayed while she was talking. I think so.
Okay. I think it's somewhere.
It's on the right, I think.
Is it this?
No.
Describe it again, please.
A child's hand with bandage and a drip.
Oh, okay.
So Martha, I wanted to ask, you decided from your research, you decided to focus on the children because you could have gone to, you could have gone ahead to draw an adult or a young teen. Why did you do that? Why did you pick? Why did you do that? Why did you pick?
I think for me, I just love kids. And I believe if parents are well informed right from the pregnancy stage, they can be able to detect the disease and then, find a cure for it. That's just it. So everything lies on the parents. Yeah.
Mm. That's very true, actually. That's a wonderful observation that you made there, because it's almost like catch them young, let's know what is wrong, and let's find a treatment for it. Yeah. Thank you very much, Martha. Thank you very much, Martha.
You're welcome.
So I'd like to call on the next person while we search for your arts. Ikechukwu Lion, please could you unmute and give us a little bit of information on your piece?
Okay, we're asking to unmute now. We're going to spotlight you, IK.
Yeah. Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, this was my first time of hearing of the disease, or rather the disorder. So I made a couple of researches. It wasn't actually hard to create a piece for it because I don't know. It was a straightforward stuff. Basically, it's a blood disorder.
Yeah.
Basically, and I had to make researches on what causes it and how it goes about, and I realized that it was hereditary, and it was due to lack of oxygen or oxygen carrying protein in the blood, basically. So yeah, I realized that a cure, or it didn't necessarily cure or management of the disease. I don't think from my research I saw like a cure, but there was a management. That's the blood transfusion every 2 to 3 months or less.
Oh, all right. So could you describe your work?
I focused on the blood transfusion part.
Oh.
Okay. My work is it was like close to the last work. If you could go to the last slide, had like
describe it. So I can't remember.
I made it childish because of my focus was on children.
Okay.
Yeah, the background was green. It's a digital art. Yeah, the background was green, and it had like just a head and a blood sac and another blood wearing glasses and with the tongue out, basically. A drop of blood wearing glasses and with the tongue out.
Okay.
Just, yeah, I think you should go back a bit, sorry.
Back, I think I've seen it too. The one with the blue background.
No, black background, but it's close to the face of the baby.
Oh.
Yeah, you should keep going back a bit. No, go. You've gone out of. Yeah, exactly. This is where it is, on this wall.
Is it this?
Yeah, on this particular wall. Yeah, that's my work down there.
This one?
The one with the yellow teeth.
Oh.
The one with the yellow teeth and the green background. Yeah.
Oh, it's so cute.
Oh, okay. I understand. You focused on the facial deformities, right? Was that?
Yeah, and kids. Yeah.
And kids. Okay. So why did you? I mean, you could have picked something. You decide to pick the brown, the yellow teeth rather.
I checked for images of the deformity that comes with it and how they look. So and basically that is like a signature style already of my art. So I saw it could like fit in.
Oh, okay. So the drop of blood that with the tongue out, I like to interpret it as like, oh, well, I'm the cause of this. So that kind of thing. Is that
Basically,
was
of
that
course,
inspiration?
I'm still needed. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's cruel. But it's fun at the same time. I really like the form of art that you use. Oh, who would have imagined? Because I saw it a while ago when it was passing through, and I was like, why is the tongue out? Why is the tongue out? So I feel like with this kind of work, we could explain to even a child in
Exactly. That was my target.
elementary school. Yeah.
That was my target, basically.
Yeah, this would be a good way for especially visual learners that are not even children. You'd be able to get it if they ask you. You remember the drop of blood with the tongue out. So thank you very much. This is wonderful. Yeah, this is very, very wonderful. This is wow. Thank you so much, Ikechukwu Lion. I'd like to call on the next person, Michael. Michael, please.
Our speaker is here and she will be speaking by 11 o'clock. So we want to make sure we are respectful of our time. Very important.
All right.
So after our speech, they will go next to the exhibition. The exhibition is going to close around 12. So, but that is good that we're hearing from artists. I mean, this is so interesting when artists are now like advocates of thalassemia, because it's interesting. Majority of people today that created these works they've never even heard about thalassemia, and it's interesting that can actually be a research point, really a research point that people can really focus on. Don't let me talk too much. All right, let's allow the last artist to speak before we invite Doctor very quickly.
Okay, so please, Michael, please unmute yourself.
Okay, good day, everyone. My work was centered on children, being that the focal point in our societies presently. So my research on thalassemia got to undig a lot of things, like in situations where someone gets to have jaundice, they experience paleness, and that is what my work was centered on primarily. So from what I created, I'm a pastel artist. So I use my pastel blocks to kind of illustrate and talk about the subject thalassemia. That's, if you look at my work, you see areas where I use a lot of white pastel blocks to express the paleness of the child's forehead, and I actually exaggerated the forehead to show the swelling on the art piece, and to actually add some glimmer of hope, I use bright colors to embellish the work, in that it shows that it's something that can be managed, and it's something that one doesn't have to be stigmatized for, and if properly managed, the person could actually live a happy life. So it's not like it's something that's an endpoint for whoever is suffering with it. So that's what I expressed in my arts.
Which one is your work?
I think the baby with the big forehead.
My work has a purple background, and it has horizontal strips of colors on it.
Apart from that, what exactly do you have? What did you have there aside the description? Oh, I think I've seen it. No, I'm not sure. Sorry. Keep describing. Just tell us what it is exactly, apart from horizontal stuff. I don't.
Okay, it's a portrait of a child. It has a purple background.
Okay. Is it a digital art?
Keep going. Going. It's not a digital art.
Oh, I've seen it here. The purple background, right?
Not this one, not this one. Mine was towards the last slide you presented.
Sometimes I wonder what goes on in the mind of a creative, because then if you try to understand them, it could be quite complex until they explain themselves what it is exactly. And I like that you said you focused on the forehead part, so you also checked out a fiscal deformity. Oh, okay. Oh, wow. It looks very real, like you this looks like you got a picture of somebody and then you used it. Was that what you did, or this is just like your imagination of how a kid looks?
Actually, I had a reference from a child. I used the portrait of a child.
Oh,
I only
okay.
had to exaggerate some features to present what I had in mind.
Okay, so the color codes, what are they? The blue, whites that were seen by the side, what does that represent?
Well, we always have to look on the brighter side, even when we face difficult life situations. So actually, I use bright colors to, kill out the sadness that the child is putting up on his face. So if this disorder is actually properly managed and they get the kind of love that they deserve from people around them, then I think children or whoever has this disorder wouldn't have a challenge living life to the fullest.
Oh, that makes much sense. So we should not always look at, oh, this child looks deformed and stuff. We should see the brighter side, because at the end of the day, they're also human beings and they should be treated with, the equal love, the equal attention and respect that you're going to give to any other person. So I love the piece. I think, the fact that you're telling us to focus on the brighter side actually makes everything a lot more interesting and inspirational to look at. So thank you very much, Michael. That would be all for the art exhibition, because we're about to get into the talk. So thank you very much to all the artists that decided to give us an insight into their world of creativity. We hope that we continue to see you do these things to create awareness for all of us, so it'd be easier for us to look at it and also remember it after a long time, because most of us are visual learners. So thank you very much. Thank you so much. Now for this next one, we have a talk show, but before I invite on the guest, I just want to ask this simple question. Did anybody remember Mother's Day, like before the day? Because I remember I woke up and then everybody said, oh, it's Mother's Day. No, nobody told me. And then my mom is not around right now, so she called me. And there's a certain way Nigerian mothers will call you, something is wrong. She was like, hello. I was like, hi, mom. I said, why is she saying like she was expecting something? So I started to think of everything that could be happening. Oh my God, did I forget something? Did she tell me to do something? I not do it. I was thinking. I was like, what did this woman want from me? What did I do? It's too early in the morning. She called me like 8. She was like, oh, have a nice day. She was like, I knew something was wrong. So I decided to go online and see, maybe ask some of my cousins, what did I do wrong? And then I saw it was Mother's Day. And I didn't see as people were posting their mothers. I saw more memes like, oh, it's another Mother's Day and things like that. So we always have that thing about Mother's Day is every day, or we have more of Mother's Day out there. But while I checked out the bio for this particular session that we're going to be having, I saw why we should actually celebrate Mother's Day every day. So let me give you an example. The connection that mothers have with their children is beyond just having to carry somebody for 9 months, right? That's the outlook that we give it. But during those 9 months, and even after that 9 months, you have to continue to share. You number one, you have somebody with as much complex emotions as you are also going to be having, or you already having. You have to share your nutrients, your air, and everything. Thank God somebody talked about the fact that, the thalassemia can be hereditary. So we have the mothers. You could imagine what the mother actually goes through, finding out that I am also the problem. This is why my child is going through something like this, because I couldn't do well during my pregnancy, or something went wrong. It also affects the mother greatly. But we have some of the mothers that would go to any lengths to make sure that other children don't go through it, and that they could get the best for their own child too. So let me welcome Dr. Victoria Odesina. I want to say a little bit about her because this is wonderful. I just want you guys to have a, understanding. So she's the co-founder and the president of the Global Sickle Cell Alliance. It's a non-profit advocacy organization in the USA, and she's coordinated so many medical mission trips to Nigeria. She's also supported by a lot of different NGOs, including the Association of Public Health Laboratories. Wow. And she has been able to spread awareness so far by attending numerous conferences in the USA and other countries abroad, even Nigeria. She talks about, she also talks about sickle cell disease and its management for providers, patients, and their families. And let me give you guys a little insight into why I mentioned Mother's Day. She's the mother of 3 adult children, 2 of whom are living with sickle cell anemia with alpha thalassemia. And I can't wait for us to hear from her. Please welcome our guest, Dr. Victoria Odesina.
Wow. Thank you very much. And good morning to all of you. I am very pleased to be here. Can you hear me?
Very clearly, ma.
Okay,
and you look very beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I have my headpiece on because, as you know, it's about 6 a.m. here. So, and it's a weekend. Many people are still sleeping in my house. So that is why I'm trying to, that's why I had my headset on, so I won't be too loud and animated. But I want to thank all of you because when I joined, I started listening to the description of your artwork, and I'm very pleased. And because I'm not an artist, that's not something I know how to do. And I appreciate the fact that you mentioned earlier that when you look at an art piece, you really can't, unless you're an artist yourself. And even if you're an artist, you don't even know what the person doing the work is thinking about and what they're trying to tell you. So it's better to get some information from that artist to get a point of view of what they're presenting, and you'll be better able to appreciate the artwork and put it into perspective. So I thank you all for all you do, and I really appreciate inviting me to be here. I will, can you allow me to share my screen, please? Oh, okay, you did already. Thank you. Thank you for what you do, and thank you for, let me see if I can make this, okay. All right, that's good. Now, Mr. Oyebami, are you here? I think I saw you. Yeah. Abayomi, good morning. Yeah, maybe you're muted. Okay. All right, let me go quickly because I know you have other topics to talk about. I want to share some information on thalassemias in Nigeria. This is not a, it's not a lecture. It's not a research lecture. It's not going to give you information on management or the scientific information that is too complex. What I prepared this morning is just to give you like an introduction to the different types of thalassemias that are out there and the ones that are very common in Nigeria. We are still learning. We have a long way to go to increase awareness. So by the end of this session this morning, I hope that you'll be able to differentiate between the qualitative and quantitative beta hemoglobin traits. And you'll be able to describe the different types of thalassemias. And we will be able to examine together the relationship and the relation between sickle cell and thalassemias, and eventually discuss the implication for health and reproductive care. I appreciate most of you talking about reducing stigma and fostering hope, and making sure that the fact that you have this condition doesn't mean the end of life, and doesn't mean that you should be treated differently. However, with love and support and the proper care and better understanding, people can live a better quality of life and live successfully. So what is hemoglobin and thalassemia? It's all about the hemoglobin we know carries, it's a structure in our red blood cells. It's the protein inside our round red blood cells that helps us transport oxygen from the lungs to different parts of the body. The hemoglobin has two parts: the heme, which is the iron part, and the globin, which is the protein part that affects that affects what we now know as sickle cell and thalassemia. So I want you to think about the heme and the globin. The heme is the iron part. The globin is the other part with the protein where abnormalities can occur. And you can see the beta globin genes here, and I just put this picture here. You don't need to cram all of this. I just want you to know that at times when we talk about it, we specify exactly where the problem occurred in the chromosome or in the genes. As somebody was saying, as host was saying, yes, the different types of hemoglobins we have and the thalassemias or whatever we are diagnosed with, it's inherited. We inherit it from our parents. I, as a mother, inherited my sickle cell trait from my parents and my mother and my father, and I passed it on to my children. So the alteration or mutation that occurred in and that occurs in beta globin genes occurs in chromosome 11, and the one that occurs for alpha globin gene occurs on chromosome 16. So and we inherit two copies, so one from the parent and one from the mother, and that's how we inherit the two pairs that make us who we are. So in hemoglobin, we inherit two proteins, an alpha and a beta, to make good hemoglobin. So whenever there's abnormality or difficulty, there will be insufficient production of the hemoglobin, and at times it may not be just the sufficient production, which is the quantity. It may be the quality in the different forms. And if anything is different from what is supposed to be normal, it has a way of affecting the oxygen capacity carrying of the hemoglobin. So which means your red blood cells may not be able to carry enough oxygen for you to function properly. So that is why if you have low hemoglobin, you have anemia. If the structure is different from hemoglobin A, like hemoglobin S or C or E, then the structure may cause difficulty and hemolysis, and this is where you have the jaundice and all the other complications. Anemia starts through life, and because it's a group of disorders that affect many people from different kinds of the world, we need to understand more about thalassemia. Now, when we talk about hemoglobin, we have what we call the fetal hemoglobin and adult hemoglobin. The fetal hemoglobin is predominant when we are born, and you don't need to worry about the gamma, delta, and all this stuff. But it's just sufficient for you to know that when babies are born, they have what we call fetal hemoglobin. It's about 99% of their red blood cell, and they have a little bit of hemoglobin A. Now, when we start growing up, then the hemoglobin A, percentage of hemoglobin A starts to increase, and the fetal hemoglobin continues to decrease. And we also have hemoglobin A2. So when you go for your blood work and they say, oh, let's do your genotype or phenotype, the average normal adult has hemoglobin A about 97%, hemoglobin A2 about 2%, and hemoglobin F about 1%. Remember I said when you're a baby, it's about 90-something%. And by the time you become adult, it goes to this. Now, these numbers are very important because when we want to diagnose some forms of thalassemia, this is what we look at. We look at the number. First, we look at the number, the percentage of hemoglobin A. And usually in most alpha thalassemias, you will have a very high percentage of hemoglobin A2. This is not something we do on a routine basis in Nigeria. And this is why we do not identify a lot of people with thalassemia. And that is why many people don't talk or know much about thalassemia. We have some people who inherit what we call high persistent fetal hemoglobin. And this fetal hemoglobin, instead of reducing down to like 1%, will be very high. They may have up to 7% or 10%. And these have implications for their presentation in future. So let me move on and talk about thalassemias. We have I'm going to talk about the two major types of thalassemias. We have the alpha thalassemia, which have 4 alpha globin genes, 2 on each site here on the chromosome. And you have the beta thalassemia, and we inherit 2 copies, 1 on each end from each parent. Remember, we inherit all of these from our parents. Alpha thalassemia is commonly found in people from Africa, Middle East, Indian, Southeastern, South China, and occasionally the Mediterranean region. And generally, thalassemias have been known to be prevalent in populations that evolved in humid climates where malaria was endemic. If you all remember malaria stories, you will remember that it said that malaria evolved, or sickle gene evolved, because our body was trying to defend itself from malaria fever. And this is how the mutation, this is how our red blood cells changed and was able to prevent a lot of people from dying from malaria fever. Then we have beta thalassemia, which is very common in the Mediterranean, Middle Eastern, and African countries, such as ours, South Asian, Southeast Asian, and Chinese descent. It's more common in other places than here because they do have a lot of people with Cooley's anemia or thalassemia major, which we'll talk about in a while. Now, I did mention the qualitative and quantitative globin traits. Qualitative, the quality, means it's the shape. Is the shape okay? Is the quality did it maintain its normal shape? The normal shape that we know is the hemoglobin A. The hemoglobin A, which allows the red blood cells to remain round after it delivers oxygen. However, because there are some changes that occur in the genes, there are abnormal forms of our hemoglobin, such as the hemoglobin S. The sickle hemoglobin is 1, the C is 1, the D, the E, the O, and we have over 1,000 different types of abnormal hemoglobins. But these are the most common ones. You only hear about the most common ones. And they're prevalent in different ethnic backgrounds. And the hemoglobin S here is very common in people of Africa, Mediterranean, Middle Eastern, Indian ancestry, and South America. And the hemoglobin C is also prevalent in African ancestries, West Indians. Ghana has more hemoglobin C prevalent than Nigeria. Nigeria has more hemoglobin S. And the list goes on. I'm not going to belabor this too much. Then we have problems with the quantity, the lack of production or insufficient production of hemoglobin, which we can find in conditions such as beta 0 thalassemia, or we have the beta plus thalassemia or hemoglobin E. And I'll talk a little bit about that. This slide is just there to show you where on the chromosome the amino acid changed and the protein. It's just like writing a letter. Let's say you want to spell the word book. You know, if you see anything that say B-O-O-K, it's pronounced book, and you know what that means. But imagine instead of B-O-O-K, the second O in that book was moved from its space, and the B, it goes to the B, the space where the B is supposed to be, and then the B goes to the space where the O is supposed to be. That is no longer a book. Now you will have O-O-B-K. So what do you call that? When those 4 letters, wrongly placed 4 letters, are in a sentence, in a chapter of a book, which is the human being, when you are reading it to function, it will not function as a book, because whoever is decoding what you're supposed to do in your body does not recognize it as a book. And this is what happens when we have all this hemoglobin, because there's a substitution in the arrangement of amino acid, and glutamate in sickle cell was changed for valine. And these are the other proteins that are changed. So we won't, let me advance. Okay, let me see. I think okay. Let me just make sure I didn't, okay, wonderful. So I'm sorry for this slide that messed up, but I just want to talk about the beta thalassemia. Forgive this slide that is smudged here. The beta 0, remember I was telling you that the beta will inherit 2 copies from the parents. If you inherit one from your father, one from your mother, and this is a normal beta hemoglobin gene inheritance. If you inherit only one, like this one in the bottom, let me see, okay. This one, it means you have one beta and you do not have both copies. So your body will be producing decreased amount of beta chains. And that will be called like a beta trait or beta minor. If you do not have any at all, see, it's crossed off here, it's crossed off here. That's a beta thal major. So which means you do not have any production at all. So we have 2 different types of beta thalassemia. So when we're talking about beta thalassemia, and this has implications for sickle cell, it could be beta 0 thalassemia, which means there's no production at all, and beta plus thalassemia, which means there's a decreased amount of beta chain production, which may impact or reduce the presentation or complications of the person with sickle cell disease. And I want you to be thinking about this. This is part of the reason why when you have sickle cell disease or you have thalassemia, the type that you inherit determines your presentation, your clinical features, whether you are sick a lot or you are not sick, whether you have complications or whether you don't have. And that is why it's very important not to paint everybody with the diagnosis with the same brush. Now, people with thalassemia trait or minor, it's not a disease, but they can have mild anemia. In most cases in Nigeria, unfortunately, when you have many people go without being diagnosed with thalassemia because they are treated as iron deficient and given iron supplements because we don't conduct the testing. So we have beta thalassemia intermediate, which is also known as mild Cooley's anemia. And this is when you have partial inheritance. You see there's decreased production in this one, but it's mild. And also here, when you have beta thalassemia, decreased production inherited with alpha thalassemia also, and this is possible. So now you have the thalassemia major or Cooley's anemia, which is the most severe form of beta thalassemia, in which case there's a complete lack of beta protein being made in the hemoglobin. And it requires regular blood transfusion and ongoing medical care, which causes its own complications also because they may have iron overload, which has to be treated with chelation therapy because iron deposits in the different organs of the body, and many of them, unfortunately, die from cardiac involvement when the iron overload affects their heart. Okay, I think all right. Now we have other forms of thalassemias. As I mentioned, I've talked about the fact that you can inherit sickle cell with either alpha or beta thalassemia. We have sickle beta thalassemia. It could be sickle beta 0 thalassemia or sickle beta plus thalassemia. And how do we diagnose this? During newborn screening, there are certain ways that the tests are interpreted. And this actually causes a lot of problems with their families because many of the parents with children with beta thalassemia, sickle beta thalassemia, will tell you that, oh, I've always been told that I have hemoglobin AA all my life. Remember, we talked about hemoglobin A in the beginning, and this is where most of the mutation, the changes occur. So, but because we don't test for thalassemia on a regular basis in Nigeria, many people get their lab results and they're given AA and we're told, oh yes, you have AA, you have nothing to worry about. Little do they know that they may carry mutations of beta thalassemia or alpha thalassemia. And in future, when they have a child with sickle cell, with a mother that has sickle cell trait, then they have a child with sickle beta thalassemia. And it could be beta thalassemia or where they will have no hemoglobin A at all, or they have sickle beta thalassemia plus, where they can produce some hemoglobin A with their sickle hemoglobin. And the other parent will say, where did this baby come from? Did you have an affair? So further testing will have to be done. Remember, I told you we have to then do hemoglobin A2 and to determine and repeat electrophoresis for the other parents. And then we have hemoglobin SE because we have hemoglobin E disease, and you can have E beta thalassemia. So I've talked a little bit about this sickle beta 0 thalassemia. One of the confusions for providers or healthcare providers who are not well versed with sickle cell disease and the thalassemias. At times when they are given a result of someone with AS, when they say AS, and they get another result that says SA. When you get a result like that, the hemoglobin with the highest percentage is reported first, and the ones that follow, the percentage decreases. So when you have AS, it means that person had more hemoglobin A than S. But when you have SA, it means that person has more hemoglobin S than A. SA is a disease. AS is a trait. So we have hemoglobin SC disease, and we have E beta thalassemia, and I'm not going to go too much into this, but just for you to know about. Oh, I'm looking at my time. Okay, alpha chains, we inherit 4 copies, 2 from our parents. So there are 2 on each end, and the type you inherit determines what your alpha thalassemia diagnosis will be. So we have 2 alpha chains gene located on each chromosome 16, making a total of 4. And there could be mutation on any one of them. It's important because, as we said earlier, it helps us make the fetal hemoglobin as infant, and then help us with hemoglobin A and A1 and A2 as adults. There are silent carrier states, hemoglobin constant spring, alpha thalassemia traits, which is about alpha thalassemia, hemoglobin H disease, hemoglobin H constant spring, and homozygous constant spring, and hydrops fetalis and thalassemia major. So the silent carrier, I'm almost finished. The silent carrier, when you miss one alpha gene here, you see, you have 3 instead of 4. When you inherit that, you are a silent carrier. In most cases, a lot of us in Nigeria have this. We walk around with this. And over our lives, maybe we went for blood work or something. They tell you have mild anemia. Just go and get your, go and take iron tablets, and for years you take iron tablets, and nothing happens. I remember when I was home and I was pregnant with my first son, I was anemic during pregnancy and had to be transfused. They kept giving me prenatal vitamins. I kept taking it, and they kept accusing me of not taking it. I said, I took it, but not knowing that I had alpha thalassemia. And that was why I was anemic. And all the other indices were there, the MCHC, all the other, and won't go into all the other stuff that should have clued them to the fact that they should test me for alpha thalassemia. It wasn't until we got here and my daughters were diagnosed with sickle cell disease, but their form was kind of different, and everybody kept saying, are you sure they have it? You know, so we had to do family analysis only to find out that we had alpha thalassemia trait. So we there are different ways of inheriting this alpha thalassemia, and in African descent, this is the one that's most common for us. We miss one from each of these chains, and the Asian descent may miss both from one, and also they can miss just like the African descent here. In this population here, the reason why this is very important is Asian descent, they can have what we call hydrops fetalis, and I will explain a little bit about that. Hemoglobin H is when you miss 3 of the alpha chains, and you only have 1. And hydrops fetalis is not compatible with life. Hemoglobin H, when you have this, may require blood transfusion to live quality of life. But hydrops fetalis has been documented as not compatible with life. However, there have been about maybe 10 or 12 cases all over the world where people are living even with hydrops fetalis because they have been able to intervene during mother's pregnancy to transfuse the baby during pregnancy and prevent stillbirth. And that has been unfortunately, a common cause of stillbirth in many families. So in summary, we have beta and alpha thalassemia in Nigeria. It's very prevalent. We are conducting newborn screening in Nigeria right now, and the type of equipment we're using, hemoglobin electrophoresis, is allowing us to identify babies with alpha thalassemia. And because we're identifying babies early enough, we can conduct further tests and be able to educate parents on thalassemia, beta thalassemia and alpha thalassemia. During the lab testing, they will find BARTs. There are certain proteins that are produced when you have alpha thalassemia, BARTs are present, and we try to educate the parents on that. There are a lot of hematologists in Nigeria that have been doing some work in thalassemias. It's unfortunate that their work has not been so publicized like sickle cell work. But I know of Professor Falius in Ibadan, Professor Akinola, others to name, at many of the sickle cell centers or hematological centers. So when we start talking about AS, don't marry AS, now we know that AS, not just AS, there are so many different hemoglobinopathies that can be combined. So we need better education to be able to provide appropriate information. And all these have clinical implications. For instance, if you're anemic all your life and you have alpha thalassemia, or you have any of the other stuff, instead of just popping iron pills, providers should test you if you're iron deficient, and if not, they should look other ways. So it has clinical implications and reproductive implications. How do you know whether you have or you have a relative or anybody that has alpha thalassemia, beta thalassemia? When you go to when you decide to have your child, this will be something to have a discussion with a genetic counselor about, to be able to discuss your reproductive implications. And as I said, there's need for more education and screening of the population. I was looking at many articles yesterday where hematologists at sickle cell centers have been studying, reporting on their studies that yes, alpha thalassemia is prevalent, beta thalassemia is prevalent, but I'm looking to see when we're going to start doing a lot of public education, and it will be talk of the town like immunization, so that the stigma is removed and there will be better access to care, and we will have a better understanding. So I will stop at that and take questions. I'm sorry I took too much time.
I have a question for you, man.
Yes, go ahead.
Brilliant presentation. Thank you so much for this incredible. I was thinking about how can we partner with the global program that you are actually the president, in terms of health communication and health messaging. I mean, just like what we did here today, it's more health communication based, but maybe looking at it from a dimension of visuals. So I know that arts plays a critical role in public health in terms of health communication as well. So, and we are very intentional about partnership and how we can continue to support health institutions by infusing creativity into the content of what they create. A few days ago, I received an email from the Lancet journal of medical journal in the UK. I mean, they reach out to us and saying they would love us to, they want to partner with us to submit works of art made by children and young adults, and they want to publish that in the UK. And then so, I mean, if we have people who are coming from all the way, how much more how we can support what is African for Africans. So I'm looking at it. I'm a Pan-Africanist. I'm very pro-Africa in a way too. So how can we partner in terms of health communication and health messaging and health education as well, using visual art? And that is one. Two, looking at this, I am ASC. I wrote about, and we spoke about this. Interestingly, on Sunday when we did the opening ceremony, there was an art exhibition on sickle cell awareness, sickle cell anemia awareness. It's beautiful. It was created by someone who actually has sickle cell anemia, and also she has continued to use art to, you know, advance conversation and awareness around sickle cell as well. So I spoke about, you know, I had like marital relationship in a way, put it that way, with three ladies, not three ladies at the same time, but like back to back. I was
You've
like,
been busy.
The first person I dated was AS, like myself, another person AS, another person. I felt I wouldn't be married at all because I'm someone who's very emotional, and I don't want to add to the statistics of person with the sickle cell in the world. Nigeria, of course, has the highest number of persons with sickle cell in the world. So I believe in God. I'm a person of faith, but I'm also not foolish. So no matter how much, no matter how much I love people, but then I believe that knowledge is very important, right? So how does thalassemia affect marital relationship? I mean, how do people know? I don't know. I mean, I know about sickle cell, but I don't know about thalassemia. I'm just saying.
Yes. Yeah, thank you very much for those kind of comments. Yes, we can. There are many opportunities to collaborate with us to educate the community, and I think now that we are connected, I think this partnership will continue, and I'll get in touch with my team to let them know of this new development, and we can talk about our ideas and go on from there. So let's continue this discussion after today so that we can start collaboration. When you talk about how does thalassemia affect people, it depends on the type of thalassemia you have. Like I said, a lot of us are walking around in Nigeria with alpha thalassemia trait or carrier's trait that we don't know about. So it doesn't make you sick if you have the trait. You have mild anemia. But if you have the beta thalassemia, that's a different situation. If you carry the trait of that, it doesn't make you sick. You may have mild anemia, but when it gets to a situation where you have severe reduction in beta globin production, then that is where you have the destruction of the red blood cells, you have the jaundice, you have liver problems, and you get weak. And we have, remember I was talking about thalassemia intermediate, mild Cooley's anemia, or the thalassemia major, Cooley's anemia. This is where you are blood dependent to survive. You have to receive blood transfusion all the time. And if you have to receive blood transfusion all the time, you know that you have anemia, severe anemia, you have bone problems, you have deformities, and you have all kinds of joint problems and so many things. And you have to be receiving blood transfusion every month. And each time you give someone a unit of blood transfusion, you are giving them mega doses of iron, which the body cannot eliminate. So if you imagine somebody having blood transfusion every month from birth to adulthood, you know that they've received a lot of iron, and that is why they end up with iron overload. So the type of an alpha thalassemia, as I mentioned, unless you have hemoglobin E, then you have issues with anemia. And if you have, you miss the 4 chains, then you have hydrops fetalis, and that person has to be transfused during pregnancy. And they are monitoring those 10 people because they are not supposed to live. It's not compatible with life. So they are still treating those 10 people right now. So how does that affect your reproductive choice or your partner selection? There's a lot that can be done right now, even if AS marries AS, or if you have someone AS marries AC, or AS marry AA. AA, the AA that has possible beta thalassemia or alpha thalassemia. And you can have what we call prenatal diagnosis, where you know the status of the fetus before the embryo is placed in the uterus. And people are adopting. When I was in Nigeria in October, I think there's a doctor in Abuja who is trying to work on correcting this sort of problem in utero. They are doing it in some parts of the world where when the woman is pregnant, let's say the person identifies that the baby they are carrying has sickle cell, they can do what we call a genetic modification while the baby is still in the uterus. It's like doing a stem cell transplant inside the uterus before the baby is born. So I will leave it at that because it involves a lot and it will take more time than we have. If somebody asked a question, what are the signs to look for during pregnancy that may be linked with thalassemia? Well, in my own case, it's anemia. And it depends on the type of thalassemia you have. It's better to be tested now that you are more aware of what thalassemia is. You can, if you're anemic, you don't even have to get pregnant to know, because you'll be anemic. They will tell you it's mild anemia, nothing to worry about. You are able to function. You live your normal life. So if you're anemic and you've been taking iron pills and you don't have iron deficiency, then ask your doctor to investigate more. And if your doctor doesn't know or thinks that they don't have the wherewithal to conduct the testing, ask them to refer you to a hematologist who can do the test. Somebody said thalassemia cannot be prevented, but can be cured. Please, more explanation on this. Well, because it's inherited. You inherit it from your parents. It's just like we inherit how tall or how short we are, which parent we look more like, how we inherit the color of our eyes or the texture of our hair. That's the way we inherit it from our parents. It's passed on. When 2 people decide to have a child, one parent would donate some set of genes, characteristics. The other one would donate. The child will inherit one from each parent. And it depends on what the child inherits from that parent at that time. And that is why with each child that you have, they may have the same, they may inherit the same condition, and they may not. My 3 children, my son has sickle cell trait. My second daughter has sickle cell anemia with alpha thalassemia. My third daughter had sickle cell anemia with alpha thalassemia. So when we talk about this 1 in 4 chance that we're talking about, it's not that you have 1 out of 4 children that will have the condition. No. The probability is with each pregnancy, because it's a chance game. You don't know if you're having a child, you don't know whether it's going to be a boy or a girl. Just like the baby may inherit the female sex chromosome from both parents, or 1 X and 1 Y to be a boy. So that is the situation.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I wanted to ask, just finally, because I was thinking of the cost of the medical care for this. And I was thinking, if you can't afford it, is there any other thing? Like you said, even if you tell you about thalassemia, they just say, oh, go take iron if you're feeling a certain type of way. So is there something else like that that you could just use to manage your situation if you don't have the money for the medical care?
Well, if it's thalassemia major, the only way, because you will need monthly blood transfusion, the only way would be to get philanthropists to support you. There's no other way around it. Or I know they're doing bone marrow transplant, they're doing gene therapy, but all of those cost money. So, but if you have a mild case of thalassemia, then, like I said, the thalassemia intermediate, the Cooley's, the mild Cooley's anemia, many of them live normal life, except that at times the anemia is so bad that they may require blood transfusion once in a while. It's not all the time. So I think for someone who would need blood transfusion, if they have that kind of condition, there's no other way than to find support within the society if the person is not, does not have the insurance and does not have the financial wherewithal. I know a lot of people talk about using herbal remedies to help blood production, and but I have not been in situations where I have taken care of patients like that to be able to give you a robust information on that. Maybe next time we can get a hematologist who takes care of this population, and they can give us an idea of how they treat these patients. I see there's a Professor Bridget Nwanze online. I'm not sure if that person is a hematologist who takes care of patients with thalassemia, who can comment on that. All right. Well, I don't, maybe the audio is not working.
Who do you want us to unmute my very quickly? Who?
Oh, Professor Bridget Nwanze.
Okay, let me do that now.
Okay.
Okay, so is she here? I don't know. Okay, Ma, you can unmute yourself. I'm trying to unmute you, but I'm not seeing that unmute stuff. I don't know what's happening from your hand. I will make you I will make you a course, then you can unmute yourself, Ma. Please.
Okay.
So she has been made a course now. I believe she cannot unmute herself.
Professor Bridget, are you a hematologist? Okay. Well, let's move on then. You know, that may be something. Okay. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't think that person is able to speak with us.
Yes, I think probably a network issue.
Yeah. But that's something we can get back to at some point.
Okay, Ma.
Oh, she said she's a professor of painting. Okay, all right.
Oh,
all right.
Okay.
Thank you. Somebody just identified her. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of your session. And we will continue this partnership. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much, Ma.
All
Really, I mean, you can't have a session with a doctor without having to learn something very